Hey y'all, so I am here with a book author named King Obiagu. You wrote a book called
I did.
It's Been a Pleasure, y'all. Do you mind telling us who is King Obiagu?
King Obiagu is basically a Swahili name for lion heart. That's where Obiagu come from. King just comes from the fact that I've always thought of myself as a black king. You know what I'm saying? Scaled down, of course, but
You still consider yourself to be him?
at times, it's weird because it's been a long time since I released any other material, but I have spurts here and there.
You wrote this book called It's Been a Pleasure. This came out in 2014. Right?
2014, yeah.
And what is this book based on?
This book is really like a journal of my life. Different periods, different aspects. It's not a straight line. It's kind of scattered, but it all makes sense when you start reading it. And I write from a perspective of my life, but I add many other different experiences. You know what I mean? It literally, my inspiration came from everything. You know what I mean? It could be, my children being born, or, me going out the country for the first time, or me just seeing something that, something that's going on in the world.
Alright. And what made you title this book It's Been a Pleasure?
I did that because I really didn't think it was going to be a sequel to it.
Okay.
Because, the process of writing this book it took a long time. Like, I've been writing pretty much all my life, and it was like a collection of things from my past to, at that time, 2014.
Right.
So, It's Been a Pleasure was like, I know that whoever reads this book is going to get something out of it. And a lot of times we don't get to have that conversation with the author. Like, oh, this resonated with me, or oh, this changed my life, or oh, like that I really, dug deep into this. So I named it It's a Pleasure, from that aspect.
Okay. Was being an author always your dream?
No, it wasn't always my dream. I'm from North Philly, so I grew up wanting to be a rapper.
Right.
And life happened, and that didn't quite work out. I was nice though. Don't do that. It was nice. I took a change in direction, and I was also writing poetry since I was in middle school. So it just came about like that, for real. Like.
Yeah. Now this book that he wrote is like poetry based, if you know what I'm saying. It's not like a whole story. Well, it is a story of his life, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was like written in like poetry form, right? So I'll ask you some questions about like inside the book wise.
Yes.
On page 2, technically, this poem called Black Evolution. You wrote, "When will we truly be free? When will it be cool to be me?" Right? Do you think we are truly free now?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Absolutely. I think for the most part we're not free because we're not free from ourselves.
Okay.
We haven't been able to forgive the things from the past, and we haven't been able to completely grow from them.
Okay.
So being free is really a mind state, and we're so stuck on some of the gruesome things that have happened to us since we arrived on this country that we can't really get past it. And where I see some slight elevation, it's always that dip down with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like this roller coaster ride of trying to get through life. So, we try to maintain and be as successful as we possibly can.
I think it's cool to be you, such as being black in this society.
Yeah, we create cool. That's what we do. It's just in us. It's just in us. It's just a part of who we are. We create cool, not only in this country but around the world. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, although we do have our, our issues as a community, the cool has always been there. If you want to elaborate a little bit more, what I meant by that was all of me, not just my blackness. Like, even the process of writing this poetry, it took a lot for me to put that out, because it's not something common that I do amongst my friends or even family members. All the people didn't even know I did this. Right. This is something that I did, not in secret, but I just didn't present that to anybody. So when I was saying, is it cool to be me, I meant like every aspect of me, because it's unorthodox. It's not the norm. You know what I'm saying? I got all a bunch of, you know, friends that's in the streets and doing things, and now we old, but you know, at the time when I was thinking about things like that, it was just like, I'm not entirely like them. Right. I have a different thought pattern. I do things a little bit different. Be cool to be me, and how can I present that to everybody else? Okay,
I'm glad you elaborated on that, because I thought in a way that this whole line and everything was about just being like a black male in this society. That's how I took it. Maybe other people took it as that way, but I'm glad you elaborated on that. The poem Dazed and Confused. You were writing about how you fell in love with somebody that had a mask on or pretended to be somebody they're not. Have you ever tried to be someone you're not?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's commonplace in this world, especially for a black male. Like, besides black women, we're the most ostracized people on this earth. You know what I mean? So I think you have to create these images of yourself until you can truly find out who you are. So that's always been difficult. But again, to elaborate on that, it was more of me living with the fact that I loved somebody who didn't love me back. At least not as strongly as I loved them. And when I figured that out, it was like, whoa, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I was in it. You know, you in this particular situation, it's just like, wow, like, and you find out, oh shit, it didn't go that way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It wasn't that for the things that you felt, the other person didn't really feel those things.
I've been there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but really that was about.
Okay, and I get that part as to where you was explaining how we try to be someone we're not, but I think me personally, I don't know if you guys have done it before, but me personally, I take people's aesthetics. If I like their aesthetic, or how, you know, they put content out there, or how, you know what I'm saying, their actions is, I try to copy their aesthetic to find my own. Right, so that's how I do that one. Poem 15, Dear Mirror, was my favorite poem.
Okay.
Can you read it?
It's been a while.
I love that
poem. What page was it on?
15. Dear Mirror.
See, I done forgot already. Dear Mirror, don't just stand there mocking me, mimicking my every move. I know exactly who you are. I know your faults, fears, and lies you tell to the unassuming. I know your self-worth. I know your hidden insecurities in light of your discretion. I know every secret you've ever told, but it's safe with me. I'm your one friend, and at times I may let you down, but I'll never stray, never cower, never flee. And even though I hold these truths to be evident, it doesn't define you alone. Your heart is true. Your shoulders weigh heavy with the weight of the world, but you move about carrying that burden as if it was a precious newborn. You're powerful. You're beautiful. You will change the world someday. You are perfect. You are a man. You are me. Dear Mirror.
I love that poem so much.
I wrote that as an inspiration to myself. My mother, and a bunch of other people suffered from depression later on in life. And I started to feel depressed over time because I didn't know exactly, you know, what my purpose in life was. One day I literally was standing in front of the mirror and it just like snap out of it. And I started really looking at myself and really analyzed what was going on. And I started to see the shift in where my parents were versus where I was at that same time. I started to do the transition and think about where some of my friends were versus where I'm at. And some were more successful, some were, you know, less successful. But I started to look at myself and like, no, you're awesome. You know what I mean? You got a lot going for you. You're a good person. And I just started writing, and it was just me talking to me, just trying to uplift. So, you know, on occasion, it hasn't been for a long time, but if I'm feeling down, I'll read that poem to myself and kind of pull my bootstraps up and get back to it.
Yeah, it's like you trying to like snap out of it, like get yourself together, you know? Speaking on that page, at the end of Life's Success poem, you stated, "Why don't you listen?" Who or what was that referring to?
You said Life Success?
Yes.
Let's go to it.
Right.
Forgive me, y'all. It's been some time, so.
It's 2014.
Yeah, it's 2014. It's what, 9 years ago, something like that.
Crazy.
Put it in context. I said it's clear that the people with the questions are the same ones with the answers. Why don't you listen? So, a lot of the time, we look outward for answers to things that we really can solve ourselves. And that poem was more like showing that we don't always have to look outward. We could look inward. Sometimes the answer is within us. We are the new people that's in charge. You know what I'm saying? And y'all are up next. Yes.
Lord.
Yeah.
It's looking grim.
No, but it's once you get there, you never like, oh, this is my time. It's more like, oh, it's on me now. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that poem was more like, hey, yeah, you're in charge now, so figure this out. Right. You know what I mean? Because who else is there to figure it out? We can't ask our mothers, we can't ask our grandparents, we can't, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't on them no more, it's on us. So that's what that was about. Why don't you listen was more like, why are you listening to yourself? Why don't you come up with the answers yourself?
Okay. Last question about like within the book. What was your favorite part about writing these poems? Or like which poem was your favorite, you know?
Ooh, I mean, it's hard because it's like, which kid you like better? Like, you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So, it's tough. If I had to pick one, hold on, there's 73 poems in this one. There's a few of my favorites.
Okay, like top 3.
I would say Brown Skin Girl. I would say The Ruins, and maybe probably a toss-up between Black Love or oh no, hold on. Listening to the Rain. Listening to the I have a few like the ones that stand out as like really my favorites. But
okay, we're gonna get into the new stuff, y'all.
Oh, wow.
New stuff that's going on here.
I didn't send you anything from the beginning though.
No.
Wow, I'm sorry.
Do you have any more books coming out?
Yes. I'm working on the finishing touches of my next poetry book, which is sort of a continuation to this, and sort of a unintentional period piece. Meaning, I really wrote that within the last 3-4 years. Like I started writing this right before COVID.
Oh, wow.
So when you read it, you'll be like, it kind of sets that tone. It talks about the pandemic. It talks about
Of
course, yeah. It talks about, you know, civil unrest and the things that we had to go through, you know, with the public, with the police, and it's a lot of that in there, and it's a lot of resolution things. We talk about love in this one too, because I think that's what kind of got us through those crazy times. You know what I mean? So it goes there. It definitely goes there.
And the next book is called Beacon, correct?
The Beacon, yes.
Okay. Made your title that?
I titled it that pretty much for the same reasons that I just discussed.
Okay.
Everything seems so dark. All suffered extreme losses during this time. We didn't get to see or be, you know, around each other too much, and it just felt so dark. And it was just like, I gotta do something. I gotta write how I feel to try to say like, yo, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's where the beacon came from, a beacon of light while you in that tunnel. So it's a representation of hope and love. And it's like, yo, we're not going through this for nothing. It's for a reason, and we're going to get to that reason at some point in time. Should I reveal the cover? Y'all, sneak peek. Boop. That's it.
You see yourself writing any more books even after The Beacon?
Yeah, when I have more time. At this point in time, you know, my wife's trying to start a new business, and you know, kids got school and all this sort of stuff. So it's gonna take me a little bit of time, but yeah, I think so. I have actually I have another book that I'm working on right now. It's a book of short stories. It doesn't have a title yet, but I'm like 5-6 stories in, and they're kind of dope. I ain't gonna hold you.
Okay.
They're kind of dope.
And when can we expect The Beacon? No pressure, no pressure, no pressure.
Right.
That's it.
I'm trying to get it out by spring.
Okay.
Trying to get it out by spring.
Okay.
If you want, I can give you a taste of what The Beacon is.
Give them a little small, a little hint.
It's called The Beacon. Let me see. Severed from my roots, dilution after dilution, it's hard to accomplish what was intended of me. Stretched, and as my content spread about, my conscience was assimilating to me. Wonders and what ifs, could be's and should be's. I'd assume the flight plan of a peregrine falcon or a melanated lion. Maybe I'd dream of being wealthy with the shooting star's excitement, or a gun-toting cowboy with the Buddhist monk's enlightenment. Oh, it was all sighted. I didn't struggle with my pride then. At 14, a million men marched and I stood beside them. I never shared the same vision with my peers. They preached the joy of right now. I felt the pain of the coming years. I saw the strife of a broken people. They accosted me with jeers. I took the path of least resistance. Some emerged from the dense trail with broken bones and hearts, brow drenched in persistence, eye to exhausting eye. No admittance, but a lesson taught is a lesson learned. Weathered, yet I still dream of a future where no bridges burn and everything within our means, receiving everything we've earned. But until that day, I stay head down, hands touched, knees to a foundation. In my prayers, I found hope, love, strength, and elation. Without it comes chaos and devastation, with no way to escape it. But I fight fire with fire, and if it wasn't in me, I couldn't face it. And any weapon form will cause many blessed storms. From God, you have been warned. I am anointed.
Okay.
We didn't have anything but time.
True.
So you have nothing but time.
In the
so
house.
When you feel in that dark, you gotta get that off of you. And that was my way to kind of get that off, and then just bled into whatever I was writing at the time.
But yeah, y'all, that is all for this interview. Can they still buy this book?
They can. It is on Amazon still continuously.
Okay, so if you want to purchase, it might be a link down below for Amazon. If not, you could DM him on Instagram at, again,
Vibes Poetic.
For a copy of the book. But thank y'all for watching. Stay tuned for The Beacon. Okay, spring 2023, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Probably get there, but I'll see y'all.